Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this celebration of Prue's life. And we've just heard it was quite some life, especially after 50. I am one of the lucky group of people that get to call Prue Wilson Mum. Mum also answered to Prudy, Hobbitses, and middle-sized Billy Goat Gruff. I'm going to share with you what I thought was remarkable about Prue and tell some stories about her that will help to illustrate the kind of person that she was. Prue, you were never one to blow your own trumpet, but today, I'm sorry, but I'm going to let my pride and my admiration of you get the better of me, and I'm going to make you blush. Prue was adventurous and courageous. You've heard how our family moved to live in Malaysia for a teaching position for Martin. While our family was living in Malaysia, an incident took place that resulted in my brother and I seeing Prue in a new light. The incident took place one afternoon when Prue took Janet out for a walk in the pushchair along the road to the school where Martin worked. After returning from the walk, Prue took Janet out of her pushchair and then pulled the body of a small, brightly coloured snake out of her handbag. Prue asked Doug and I if we could find out what kind of snake it was. Doug and I presumed Prue must have found the snake dead on the road. As the conversation proceeded, Prue told us that while pushing Janet along the road in the pushchair, Prue had spotted the snake crossing the road. Prue was naturally cautious, so she stopped to let the snake cross the road. Prue said that to her surprise, the snake had suddenly turned and headed directly towards Prue and Janet. Prue then calmly described how she had removed her shoe and used it to club the snake to death. After referring to our home encyclopedia, Doug and I gave Mum the sobering news that the snake was, or in this case had been, deadly poisonous. Doug and I were in awe of Prue that day and learned the important lesson that one takes a serious risk when one comes between a mother and their child. Prue was a great mum who encouraged her children to follow their passions, whatever those passions or interests might be. As a teenager, I recall making a number of choices that must have disappointed Prue, but bless her, she never gave me a hard time about any of them. At 16 years of age, I discovered for the first time that I was not bulletproof when I shattered my thigh bone in a motorcycle accident and ended up in hospital with my leg in traction. Prue, like most parents, could not have been pleased that I'd fallen deeply in love with motorcycling, especially when that passion appeared to be putting my well-being at risk. I never heard Prue say a negative word about my choice of transport, even after I repeatedly roared up and down the street outside the family home on my motorcycles at speeds obviously well above the speed limit. My broken thigh bone resulted in me being hospitalised for over 6 months. One afternoon, after I'd been in hospital for some months, Prue visited me, bringing a parcel with her. She encouraged me to open up the parcel, and to my surprise, I pulled out my motorcycle boots. Prue told me that one of the boots had had the sole ripped off it during my accident. It turned out that Prue had taken the boots to be repaired, had cleaned them, and then brought them into me so they'd be handy when I needed them. I have to say, Mum cheered me up that day. I also got a lot of fun out of watching the look on the faces of my friends as I explained to them what my motorcycle boots were doing by my bedside. Prue had a resilient character and a positive outlook. Despite experiencing some major tragedies in her life, which you've heard about, the early loss of her husband Martin and my older brother Douglas, Prue was able to remain positive and cheerful. She didn't seem to have setbacks, just challenges that she responded to. I believe the anchors that kept Prue secure during these most challenging periods of her life were her strong Christian faith, her sense of humour, and the pleasure she got from supporting others who needed her. Prue believed there was no situation in life that could not be improved by making a cup of tea. which in her case would usually mean time to think about or discuss the issues at hand. Prue had a remarkable capacity to care about others and demonstrated this in the way she behaved towards others, irrespective of how she came to know them or indeed whether she knew them at all. Prue gained a lot of satisfaction from giving to others in lots of ways. Prue was a Christian who truly walked the talk. When the family took over managing Prue's financial affairs, we discovered that for many years Prue had been making regular donations to a number of charities, while at the same time giving generously of her time to others. After Prue retired from teaching full-time in Kerikeri and moved to Wellington, you've heard that she volunteered to work for an organisation that provided English lessons to immigrants. Prue's students found they could not get Prue to accept money or gifts as payment for her time, but they discovered that she would accept the occasional invitation to dine with them. I stayed with Prue in Wellington from 2005 until 2009. When Prue's students discovered her son was living with her, Prue's dinner invitations were extended to include me. The Thai and Indian meals that I enjoyed as a result were among the most delicious meals I have ever eaten. I had done nothing to deserve being treated as such an honoured guest, but could not refuse when it was obvious how good it made Prue's students feel to be able to show respect to Prue. A friend of my partner, Philippa, once told me a lovely story about Prue. Philippa's friend told me how Prue had volunteered to provide free remedial reading lessons to students at a Wellington primary school where he was a teacher. He confessed the school could not believe their luck and were quick to take up Prue's offer. After Prue had been teaching part-time at the school for some months, a parent told Philippa's friend how delighted she was with her son's progress at the school. The boy concerned had a reading disability and found written schoolwork such a struggle that his mother had been having real problems getting him to go to school. When Prue found out this boy had to complete a project and then make a presentation of it, she volunteered to help the boy use photographs to tell his story. Prue accompanied the boy as he walked around Wellington, taking photographs for his project, and then helped him to use those photos to prepare his presentation. The boy's presentation had been such a success that his grateful mother disclosed that she believed that Prue's intercession with her son was the reason that he was now enjoying school so much he couldn't wait to leave for school each morning. Pablo Casals is quoted as saying, "It is the capacity to care that gives life its deepest significance." Prue, I believe that the impact of your life has been truly significant. You have led by example. The ripple effect of how you have loved and befriended and given of yourself to us and so many others must be enormous. Your capacity to care will live on in your family and those who knew you. I am one of the many who feel blessed to have known you. God bless you, Prue. We will miss you. That concludes my tribute to Prue.